Good morning, my fellow Toastmasters, and welcome to this session on being a contest judge. For those of you who may not know me, I am Joseph Phillips. I am a past district director for District 11, and I served during the years of 2016 to 2017. It is my honor to share with you this morning as I have been asked to serve in the capacity as the Chief Judge for this particular Toastmaster year and our contest. I have been a Toastmaster for 24 years. That's a long time for some of those who may be on the line, but 24 years, and I have enjoyed every moment of it, learning, training, and also serving at the district level. This morning, the purpose of this particular session is to train those individuals who are interested in serving as a judge for the 2022-23 International Speech Contest and Humorous Speech Contest. Once you're trained, and at the conclusion of training, not today, but shortly thereafter by the end of the month, you will receive a certificate indicating that you are a trained judge. And you will be able to judge at the international level, the humorous speech contest level for the district. And if you are needed where judges are lacking in some of our divisions, we may call on you to serve in that capacity as well. So with that, we're going to get started. I'm going to share my screen with you this morning. All righty. Are you able to see my screen? Thank you. As we proceed this morning, one of the first things that I would like to call our attention to this morning, it appears we are having an issue with me advancing the screen. Right. You can see it, but unfortunately, it's not advancing. I'm going to stop sharing just for a moment. I want to go back to my PowerPoint and make sure that I have the correct PowerPoint slide. That's the correct. So not advancing. Okay.
You need a backup, let me know. You just have to tell me when to advance.
Okay, please. It appears that now on my screen it's advancing, but when I share it, it doesn't appear it wants to advance.
Gotta love technology.
Okay, thank you, Rakia. So what does it take to judge in a speech contest? That's what we're going to cover this morning. Next slide. This is a quick overview of our session today. We're going to look at when you are the judge. Why is that important? Judges have a very important role in a speech contest. So we're going to cover when you are the judge. What does it take to be a good judge? We want to look at some of the barriers to objectivity. In every one of our lives, we all have barriers. And those barriers can cause us to not be objective when we are looking at a particular individual, a particular incident. So we're going to cover what those barriers may be for judges. Common misconceptions. Common misconceptions. We have conceptions, and some of our conceptions can lead us down the wrong path. So as a judge, we want to make sure that the misconceptions that we may have don't impact our ability to judge. We want to talk about disqualifications this morning. Not only disqualifications of a speaker, but of us as judges as well. Eligibility, not only of the speaker, but of judges as well. The requirements for timing and our role as a judge in timing. And then lastly, we want to look at originality and the protest when it comes to the originality of a speaker's piece. So these are our overview objectives for today. Next slide. When you are a judge, or when I am a judge, there are 4 K's that I look at. First of all, as a judge, know your purpose as a judge. Some individuals will, I've judged so many contests. That's so well and good. All of us have, if we have been Toastmasters for some time. But know your purpose as a judge. Why are you serving as a judge? What's required of you as a judge? Know what it is. Know the difference between your role as a judge and the role of an evaluator. These two are totally different. When we judge, we're looking to select the individual who presented the best speech on that day at that given time. When you are an evaluator, you are giving feedback to an individual that they may improve their particular presentation. As a judge, we don't do that when we are judging a contest. You can switch hats after. If a contestant asks for feedback, then you give it. But that is not our role as a judge, to be an evaluator. Know the traits that make a good judge. And finally, know what gets in the way of you judging a contest well. If you don't know what your biases are, I surely don't know. Therefore, those will come into play when you are judging. So all of this we're going to talk about a little bit later as we transition through this presentation. Next slide. The purpose of a judge, I alluded to earlier. As a judge, you're selecting the best speaker on that day. Evaluation is to give feedback. Notice the quote on this particular slide by Bruce Springsteen. All of us that are on this Zoom call today, every one of us somewhere in our life have been a judge. We've judged our children, we've judged our spouses, we've judged our relationships with other individuals. We all have been a judge, whether it was good or bad. And that's why it is important that when we are judging, we put the biases aside, our misconceptions aside, and look at the whole picture that's presented before us at that time. All right, next slide. Here are the traits of a good judge for you and I. We must be fair. We must make sure that every contestant that comes before us, we're being fair in the way in which we judge that individual. We must be accurate in the way in which we complete our not evaluation, but our judging form. Be accurate. Know that when we are filling out our forms as a judge, you can't have a tie. You must make sure that there are no ties on your judging form. We're trustworthy. If you say you're going to serve, barring that there are circumstances that come up that prevent you from serving as a judge, make sure your word is your bond, because we are looking for you to step in, to conduct yourself in this particular role and help us determine who the best speaker is for that day. We must be knowledgeable of the rules. This year, make sure as a judge that you go back and you review the rule book, which is dated July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. I say that because some individuals who have served as judges in the past relied on an old edition of the rule book, and that caused some problems doing the judging of a contest. So make sure you have the most current copy of the rule book. You have become familiar with it, and you know what your responsibilities are. Also, we as judges must be good listeners. Now, I have a problem sometimes. I can listen, but then I find myself wandering. We must make sure that we continue to be a good listener, listening to make sure that the individual uses the correct English, enunciation, pronunciation. All of that is taken into context when we are judging or serving as a judge for a speech contest. Now, all of us have a sense of humor. If we don't laugh at a joke, you're probably going to laugh at opinions. All of us. I found myself doing the very same thing. And I found myself laughing during some of the contests and some of the presentations that some of the contestants have made. So be fair, be accurate, be trustworthy, knowledgeable, and be a good listener. Not just for one contestant, but for all the contestants. Next slide. Now let's talk a little bit about barriers. Some of us as judges, I shouldn't say some of us as judges, but some judges have taken in consideration the speaker's position. Wow, number one, had a great speech. So therefore, I'm going to give them a higher score. Then when number 5, 6, 7, and 8 comes along, the scores began to wane. We need to make sure that is not taken in consideration. The speaker's position. That's where fairness come in. So when I listen to speaker 1, all the way down to the final speaker, I need to be fair in how I'm going to score those individuals as they present their speeches. Don't be a champion for the underdog. In particular, an individual that has been in a speech contest previously, you may be familiar with a person that has done it. They have been in a speech contest 4 or 5 times, and this may be their 6th time as a contestant. Don't get into, well, I want to feel sorry for Joe. Joe has been here 6 times. No. If Joe is not the best speaker, don't fall into the trap. Just because I'm here number 6, don't make me the underdog and feel sorry for me. That happens because I am familiar with that happening 4 or 5 years ago with an individual who consistently competed in a contest and got to the next level, but never could get past the semi-round. But this individual, because they had been there 6 years in a row, I found myself saying, he's an underdog. I want them to make it to the next level. So let's be fair in how we deal with those individuals. There's a halo effect. I may be one of the smoothest speakers you ever heard, but does that make me the best speaker? Because I can use verbiage, I can use my voice, I may be able to sway you with all of my props that I may have. but that still will not make me the best speaker. Don't get caught into that, the halo effect. And then again, there could be the reverse halo effect. We need to think about that as well as judges. And when we say reverse halo effect, the individual may not be the best speaker. They may struggle with their enunciation and pronunciation of words, but that person can have the best speech, but because of barriers that I have, because I can't quite understand the individual, they did not enunciate the way that I thought they should, I'm using the reverse halo effect. We want to stay away from that. Then, of course, the second time around, that goes back again to the champion of the underdog. Person may have been in the contest last year, or they may be in the contest 2 years ago, and now they are back again. Don't look at that and consider it. Just say, this is another speaker. I may have heard them speak 2 years ago. I may have heard them speak last year, but home in again, is this individual the best speaker for today? Don't fall into the trap of give someone else a chance. Give someone else a chance. I'm going to pick on Rakia. I should have coordinated this with her. But just because Rakia was a speaker last year in the international contest, and she's back again this year, well, I'm just going to vote for her because she's back this year. Some judges fall into that trap. Remember again, let's be fair, and show your trustworthiness when you are judging a speech contest. And don't get caught up on, it's not the norm. Norms have changed since the pandemic. What's normal in your club may not be normal in the next club. So a presenter may not come before us with a tie, a suit, or business attire. They may come with jeans, a pullover. Put that aside. As I say, norms have changed. Listen to what the individual is saying and base your scores on what they are presenting to you. Next slide, please. Now, here are some common judging misconceptions. An international speech contest doesn't have to be serious. We always thought, and I did too when I first became a Toastmaster, I have to have a serious speech each time. No. It does not have to be a serious speech. It could be a humorous speech. What we want to look at and consider is how the speech is delivered. Taking in consideration the judging form, all of the criteria that's on the judging form. Was the speech organized? Did the speaker pronounce the words correctly? Did the speaker use the space allotted to him or her? Did the speech have an opening and a closing? Those are the things we want to look at. So we don't want to take a speaker down just because it's not a serious speech. I'm glad that Toastmasters International changed that criteria, because I have heard some individuals give some great humorous speeches as well as a great tall tales. It's the individual and how they deliver. So let's not get caught up in these misconceptions about a speech. Next slide. Disqualifications. There are always some disqualifications, but here are the things that would disqualify a contestant. The first is eligibility. In order to be a contestant in any speech contest, we always began at the club level. In order for a person to move from the club to the area as a contestant, number one, the club must be eligible. In other words, their dues must have been paid at the time of the contest. The individual must have also been a paid member of the club. Now, if they meet those criteria, club and the individual, and that person wins your club contest, then they move to the area. Whomever wins the area contest at the time of the contest, eligibility requirements are that the area must be eligible, and the individual must remain a dues-paying member all the way to the end of our speech contest. That would be all the way up to the district. Timing. Now, I want to hit this. As a judge, it's not our requirement to time a presentation. There are individuals who will have that responsibility. We have two timers, so don't worry about timing. If a person is disqualified for timing, our timers will relay that information to the contest master. A person can also be disqualified because of originality. In other words, when I hear a presenter, I want to make sure that I'm listening to their presentation and it is an original piece. Yes, they can quote, but no more than 25% of that speech can refer to quotes or information from someone else. The rest of that speech, the other 75%, should be from the presenter, original information. Now, if that does not happen, if it's not original, and there is someone that says, Chief Judge, Contest Master, we as judges can also call this to the attention of the Chief Judge. We can contest the originality of a presenter's speech, but then that opens up another floodgate where we then have to make sure that that presenter is offered time to defend their presentation. I'll talk about that a little bit later. One other piece that is now in the rule book, that's why I'm calling on you to look at that rule book, is that when a speaker gives their presentation, we used to be able to refer to a previous speaker in our presentations, not any longer. That is a cause for disqualification of a contestant if he or she references or refers to a previous speaker in the contest that he or she is participating in. That's the new addition to the rule book. Next slide. As I said, paid membership, review the most current speaker rule book, and maintain eligibility all the way through to all levels. That's the eligibility piece. And we as judges, we must make sure we've paid our dues and that we meet all the eligibility requirements, just as a speaker in a contest. Next slide. I mentioned the timing. Don't worry about timing. The timers will have that responsibility. Next slide. Here's the originality piece, and it talks about no plagiarizing. Make sure, if you hear it as a judge, call it to the attention of the contest master, but particularly myself as your chief judge, so that we can get on that immediately once the speaker or the contest is over. Now, when I say over, I mean all contestants have spoken. When we get to the deliberation phase, that's when we will call that into question. Next slide. I mentioned the originality protest earlier. Here it is again. Make sure, as a judge, if you see or hear anything that falls into the originality protest category, call it to our attention, myself or the contest chair. And then we must give the contestant, as I said, the opportunity to respond to the protest. Once that has happened, then we as judges will vote. Should that individual continue, or should that individual be disqualified? That's when it will take place. And then we will proceed with the conclusion of the contest. Next slide. I want to give you a quick summarization of what we are responsible for as judges. Number one, as a judge, your role and my role is to select the best speaker for that day. That's know our purpose. Know the traits as a judge. We must be fair. We must be accurate, trustworthy, knowledgeable of the rule book and our responsibility as a judge. And we must be a good listener. A good listener. Don't confuse the judge's role with that of a speech evaluator. Remember, we don't evaluate, we judge. Be mindful of the barriers of objectivity, the halo effect, reverse halo effect, second time around, all of those. Beware of them, because we all fall into one of those categories at some time as a judge. But we want to make sure that when you and when I judge a contest, all of that is put aside. And also, know that a speech contestant can give a humorous speech. It does not have to be a serious speech all the time. Next slide. Also, a contestant can be disqualified for one of the three reasons: their eligibility, timing, and the originality piece. Originality also, again, goes back to the aspect of I, as a contestant, referring to a previous speaker in the contest that I am a part of. That is a no-no this year. Next slide. Before I give the resources, I would like to open it up now for any questions that anyone may have. Any questions?
Joseph, I put it in the comments, but the question I have is, a club doesn't have to have an actual contest to send somebody forward. Is that correct? If they don't have a contest, they can select someone to send forward to the contest?
They can. That is true. But also, if you select someone, make sure that you time that presentation before you select me to represent your club. You want to make sure that they meet that criteria as well. Because what happens if their speech exceeds the required time? Then they will be disqualified. But okay, you are absolutely right. You can select someone to represent your club.
Thanks.
You're more than welcome. Anyone else?
Valerie has her hand raised.
Yes, Valerie, I didn't see it. Yes, Valerie, go right ahead.
Hi, good morning. I
Good
have
morning.
a question. I'm just wondering, can you speak about the venue this time around? Are speakers going to be allowed to be online and in person? How is this going to work out this year?
We are working on that at this time, Valerie. The final decision has not been made. I will be working with the program quality director to iron out all of that, and we will get in contact with the clubs, hopefully sometime next month. But we are working that issue. Anyone else?
Go ahead, Valerie, unmute.
I have another question. Joe, can you just talk about technical issues that occur and how we are to use wisdom in those if we're going to do this online, which is a totally new venue for not just Toastmasters, leaders who are speakers in general. Can you talk a little bit about how we might govern ourselves if we decide as a district that this is going to be online? Just speak a little bit about that, because oftentimes I was a timer and the gentleman that was speaking had technical difficulties. If wisdom wasn't used then, and that person was allowed to just go forward, it would have caused him some problems. But I'm not sure that a lot of people, they think it's so formal, just do A, B, C, and there's no grayness, but there is. Can you talk a little bit about the wisdom that we need to use as leaders when there is a technical issue, if we are going to be online?
Thank you. That's an excellent question, Valerie. Now, this is my wisdom as the chief judge, and I have to get all of this ironed out with the program quality director. That's why I'm calling attention to the rule book. Although it may not be outlined in the rule book, make sure that whomever your chief judge is for, or the chief judge for your club contest or your area or division contest, that he or she becomes very familiar with this rule book. If there is a technical glitch and we have to stop it, get the glitch worked out, and then allow the person to begin speaking again. That's the way that I would handle it. But I would have to work with the program quality director to ensure that we outline all of this. So therefore, if it occurs, we all know, stop the contest, work out the difficulty, and then allow the individual to begin speaking so that we would have a fair contest all the way around. Hopefully that addresses your concern.
Joe, I have a question. If we do end up doing a hybrid, is it recommended to have at least one judge on each format? So like instead of having all of them be in person or all of them be on Zoom, have at least one in each different realm?
We will work that out and then get it to you all. I will get that question to Rick. I'm sorry, I had a mental, but I'll get that to Rick and we will work that detail out and get it out. Because trying to have everybody in one place, hybrid works pretty well. If we are in the location, we will work that out and get it back to you. Now, I did see a chat and I did misspeak. I said start over, but the person begins at where they stop their speech. They will start then, right there, once that glitch is worked out. So I retract what I said earlier. If the glitch occurs, you stop Joe Phillips at this point. We're going to work out this detail. And once it's worked out, I began speaking where I stopped. So we won't start over. So I'm sorry I misspoke on that. Catherine, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay. All righty. Anyone else? Rakia, could you put that final slide up for me, please? Okay. Now, the final slide, these are the resources for what I shared with you today. There are 3 videos, training videos, that are on the Toastmasters International website. And I would call your attention to those if you have not viewed them before. The contest and roles, when you're the judge, and the judge's guide and ballot form. I certainly can. We will get these copied and pasted to you. As a matter of fact, those who are attending, I will send you this particular link, slide, the final slide of the presentation. I will send that to you so you will have that in your reference material. Because at this time, I don't have control and I'm not able to copy and paste for you. But we will send you this slide, all of those who are on this call today. You're more than welcome. Are there other questions that you may have of me? You may stop sharing now, Rakia. So our role as the judge, make sure that when we are judging the contest, we are fair, we're trustworthy. Not only are we fair, we're trustworthy, but make sure we put our biases aside. Well, I don't like this particular speaker because of A, B, C, and D. Put it aside. Let's make sure that we are treating every contestant as we would want to be treated if we were participating in a contest. I'm going to ask if Rakia would give us our survey.
Would you like the poll? I do see Kevin has his hand raised.
Okay, Kevin, go ahead. I didn't see it. Go ahead, Kevin.
Last question is, what's the time commitment to participate in this year as a judge?
Only for the international contest and the humorous speech contest, which will be at the district level. Now, that would be maybe a 2-hour time commitment from the start of the contest to the end of the contest, depending on the glitches, depending on the venue in which we may be in. But that's basically it.
Okay, so we don't get together and have pre-meetings and that kind of thing?
At the contest, yes. All of that will happen prior to the contest.
At the contest. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All of that happens at the contest. You're welcome.
Would you like to have the poll now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then we will have a discussion of the poll once we have the results.
You forgot about that, huh? Let's
I
see how well they
did.
listened. There is a poll that everyone should be seeing. Joe, I forgot to make you co-host, but I will share the results when we get 13 answers.
Yes, ma'am. All righty.
I did add the rule book into the chat.
Thank you.
As well as the tutorial you asked me to include. We have 9 of 13 so far. Okay, are you ready to see the results?
We are. All right. All righty. Any questions regarding the poll? Excellent. Any additional questions that you all have for me?
They want to know if their answers are correct.
100%.
Number 3 was, there was, the majority of those people got that right. Number 3 and number 5.
Okay. Let's go through each. I can't see all of the questions here.
All you have to do, there's a little gray slider to the left to allow you to slide down.
Okay, I'm looking. There we are. Okay, number 1. Number 1 is, that's correct. 2 is correct. The speech does not have to always be humorous. It can, not humorous, serious. So it does not always, now I said always be humorous. That's false. So that is correct. False is correct. Four is correct. That is false. Five is correct also. Not only originality, but also to the reference of a previous speaker. So that's why that would be false, not just limited to the originality. And number 6, number 6 is false. The only ones that the ballot counter cannot lodge a protest. It could be a judge, and it must be given to the chief judge or the contest master. Those are the only 2 that a protest can be lodged with. Ballot counters, timers, no. Chief judge and the contest master. All righty. Any additional questions? All right. Thank you for the thumbs up, Kevin.
You bet.
For all of those who have joined us through this meeting, there will be a survey that will pop up on your screen once you log off of this meeting. Please complete that and submit it so that we can do our best with our future trainings.
And before I know you have time because you're going to have more time because this was supposed to have gone to 11:30, but we didn't need all of that. Before I conclude today, I do see Valerie. Make sure if you have any questions, shoot them to me so that I can respond. And I promise you, you will get a response. Valerie, did you have an additional question?
Yes, during the registration, I put in my information for club. I see people in the chat doing the same. Did you mention that? I must have missed that.
That you do not have to include your registration information. I think it's just, we can't stop doing it because we did it so many times in the past Zoom. So no, you do not have to include that information, but it's nice to say hello to everybody when they do that.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. And see, I have the master list. So when I go to the master list, I can extract the names of the individuals who participated in this training to get their certificates done. And then you will receive it via mail. We apologize for the trickiness today of the login. My fellow Toastmasters, are there any final questions or comments that you may have regarding what we shared with you today? I then, as a past district director, would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to each of you for joining us today. And I do look forward to you serving as a judge in the upcoming future. And I'm hoping that this experience today was helpful to each of you. Barring no other, thank you. Barring no other questions or concerns, that concludes our training session for this morning. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Yes, Dennis. Dennis, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I was simply waving goodbye.
Oh, okay, Dennis.
Not trying to get your attention.
All right, Dennis. Thank you so much.
Goodbye, leaving.
Oh, all righty, goodbye.
Let's have one more person.
Yeah, that's Kelly. She's from, I can't remember the club. I remember working with her.
Got Toast in Indiana.
Yes, Got Toast. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, I was trying to do a reaction, wave reaction, but I guess it's installed on Zoom. So toodles.
Good.
Thanks.
Thank you. All righty.